Those images you saw was of the year 2011 flood, one of the worst flood Thailand has ever encountered within the past 70 years. 65 out of Thailand's 76 provinces were affected.
Thailand, where floodwaters are threatening the main road in and out of Bangkok.
คือในบ้านนะระดับอก
จึงทำให้ปริมาณน้ำมีมากกว่าปกติ
สถานการณ์น้ำตอนนี้ย่านนทบุรียังน่าห่วงมากค่ะ
As you can see, this crisis
บางบัวทองยังไม่ได้สามารถว่าจะลดระดับลงนะคะเป็นยังไงบ้างคะบ้านค่ะ
กินก็แทบจะไม่มีแล้ว
But the 2011 flood was not the first major flooding incident. The first recorded was in 1942, as in this short documentary film. This was what the inner city of Bangkok looked like 70 years ago. Then over 50 years later was the 1995 flood, which resulted in major economic damages. These were film footages of the flood in that year. Like in the year 2011, major efforts have been vested to try and prevent Bangkok from being flooded. The worst flood ever recorded, however, was last year's, the year 2011 flood. Nearly 700 people lost their lives. Thousands of households had to evacuate. It was to cause disruption of economic activities over a period of 3 to 4 months from September to around the end of December 2011. And the World Bank estimated that the total value of the loss was around $46.5 billion.
น้ำได้ทะลักเข้าท่วมที่เทศบาลบางบัวทองของนนทบุรีค่ะเมื่อวานที่นี่เต็มไปด้วยความโกลาหลนะคะขณะเดียวกันเช้าวันนี้
Many industrial estates in the central region were flooded. This map shows the location of some of these industrial estates as the volume of water flows southward towards Bangkok and the sea. The 2011 flood caused major disruptions. Those who did not evacuate had to cope with shortages of food and water. Traveling by car, even in large army trucks, were no longer possible, making it difficult and impossible for many to travel to work and even to get food supplies. Due to disruption of transportation, there were also shortages of dried as well as fresh food supplies in general. Drinking water became scarce. There were shortages of basic goods. While the cost of living rose, many people lost their income because they were unable to go to work or had to close shops and businesses. There were also impacts on health, as well as logistical difficulties of getting the sick to the hospitals. While all the households in the flooded area faced the same fate, the impacts to the rich and poor differed. We assume that this would be due to the differences in access to information, ability to understand, affordability, and resources to respond. And this is the background for the study on the economic damages of Thailand's 2011 flood. The objectives of the study were to analyze and compare the economic damages experienced by rich and middle-income group and low-income households, to analyze differences in preventive and coping strategies among the two groups of respondents, to analyze the effects of having more time and information to prevent damages and to implement coping strategies. This study was funded by the Economy and Environment Program for Southeast Asia. We conducted the survey in 3 districts: Bang Baw Thong District, Nonthaburi Province, west of Bangkok; Klong Luang District, Pathum Thani Province, north of Bangkok; and Don Mueang District in Bangkok. These were districts hardest hit by the 2011 flood. The water depth in these three areas was around 2 to 3 meters, and the area was flooded between 2 to 3 months. In each study area, we interviewed two groups of respondents. The first is the medium to high income group. The second is the low income group. For each group, we interviewed 100 respondents. In total, we interviewed 600 respondents, comprising 300 medium to high income households and 300 low income households. To allow for quick and efficient location of these households for the Phase 2 interviews, the location of all the households interviewed were geocoded, as shown in this map of Bangkok district in Nonthaburi province. Median total household costs were about $2,200. This graph shows how total economic costs vary dramatically across households. Just 14% had economic cost over $6,900. These were households that tended to have more property at risk and were also more likely to live in middle-class neighborhoods in Bangkok, where floodwaters rose faster compared to the two other study areas. We divided costs into two categories. First is the direct costs, approximated by the financial expenditures to deal with the negative consequences of the flood, such as damages to buildings and properties, repairs and restoration costs, and things that became household necessities, such as sandbags, water pumps, fiber boats, and waterproof boots. Second are the indirect costs, which may include opportunity costs of time of the household members, as well as time of volunteers and unpaid helpers that was spent on preventive and clean-up activities. We also estimated income losses due to disruptions in trade and businesses.
ทำมาหากินอะไรไม่ได้เลยค่ะก็คือต้องปิดแล้วก็ไม่ได้ทำอะไรเลยอยู่บนบ้านอยู่ชั้น2คือบ้านเป็นอาคารพาณิชย์ก็อยู่บนบ้านรายได้ครึ่งเดือนที่หายไปเกือบประมาณ 600,000 บาทใช่กระทบกระเทือนมาก
We found that for most households, direct losses were greater than indirect. Medium losses were 35% of annual household expenditure. Only about 13% of households had losses that were equivalent to or greater than their annual household expenditures. For most households, repair and rehabilitation costs as a percent of household value was only 1%. We categorized the costs into 5 components: preventive costs, non-health-related costs during the flood and after the flood, health-related losses, and household contributions to community related to the flood. Almost all the households in our study areas took preventive actions, such as moving possessions to the second story of the house or lift things off the ground, moving belongings to the roof, moving vehicles out of the neighborhood, and putting up sandbag barriers. The largest component turned out to be non-health-related loss after the flood, which accounted for 59% of mean total costs. The second largest component was non-health-related loss during the flood, which was around 30% of mean total costs.
นี่ต้องพังประตูกันเข้ามาบ้านนี่ไม่ได้เป็นบ้านเลยอะค่ะมันเละหมดเลยค่ะมันเป็นโคลนมันเป็นอะไรของในสภาพนี่ทำใหม่หมดเลยนะเนี่ยไม่เป็นหลังเลยอะเละหมดเลยอะแบบจับมาเนี่ยอย่างเงี้ยจับเนี่ยติดมือออกมาเลยค่ะที่ร้านนี้ก็เข้ามาก็เปิดไปก็เข้าไม่ได้เพราะน้ำมันสูงเข้าไปดูของเราก็บางครั้งตู้อะไรตะไลของเราที่นั่นไว้สะสมไว้มันก็พังมันก็เสียหายหมดไปกับแบบว่าน้ำมันอยู่นานน่ะขังอยู่นานน่ะมันก็เน่าเสีย
พอเข้ามาเนี่ยเป็นขี้โคลนหมดเลยเป็นเละหมดเลยก็ได้เพื่อนบ้านมาช่วยกันทุบปูนที่ก่อไว้อิฐบล็อกที่ก่อไว้ทุบออกแล้วก็ช่วยกันขนไปกองรวมกันไว้ที่กรรมการหมู่บ้านเขาให้ไปกองไว้ได้ก็คงที่ปากซอย
คือเฉพาะบ้านนี่ก็ 50,000 กว่าบาทเฉพาะหลังเล็กนี่นะคะค่าซ่อมแซมค่าแรงอะไรแต่หลังนี้ยังไม่ได้ทำอะไรเพียงแต่ร้านให้สะอาดก็เสียค่าจ้างเขามาล้างอะไรเงี้ยก็ประมาณ 2-3,000 บาทแล้วก็ค่าซื้ออุปกรณ์ดูดน้ำดูดอะไรเงี้ยค่ะแต่ว่า ค่าใช้จ่ายในการไปอยู่ต่างจังหวัดเนี่ยเดือนหนึ่งอะไปอยู่ต่างจังหวัดเต็มเลยเดือนหนึ่งก็ประมาณ 2-3 หมื่นบาท
เรือซึ่งซื้อมาช่วงนั้นพอดีเลย 5,500 ลำนี้
แล้วเงินที่เราเก็บสะสมเราไว้เราก็ต้องมาซื้อของที่เราสูญเสียไปซ่อมห้องน้ำก็เท่าไหร่อะคะซื้อเครื่องใช้ไฟฟ้าของเราทีวีตู้เย็นของเราอีกแล้วตู้เตียงของเราอะ
แล้วก็กลับมาก็ทยอยทำก็กู้อีกเหมือนกันเพราะไม่งั้นเราเข้ามาอยู่ไม่ได้ค่าประมาณค่าเสียหายเนี่ย 40,000-50,000ไม่อยู่ละ
ค่าแรงก็ไม่มีเราขัดไว้อย่างเดียวแต่ถ้าเฉพาะซ่อมแซมบ้านเนี่ยผมว่าประมาณสัก 6-7 หมื่นน่าจะได้น่าจะพอ
Flood warning systems are often believed to be among the most cost-effective non-structural options to reduce flood losses. We did not find much evidence, however, to suggest that improved flood warnings would have helped many households reduce their economic losses. Despite the massive news coverage, many people were still caught off guard by the severity of the flood in their own neighborhood.
อยู่มาจะ30 ปีไม่เคยมีน้ำท่วมก็คิดว่าถ้าท่วมก็คงไม่ถึงหัวเข่าหรอกอะไรอย่างเงี้ย
ตัวบ้านนี้ยังไม่เข้าเลยในรั้วบ้านนี้ยังไม่เข้าเลยอย่างเงี้ยก็เลยกะว่าอยู่คืนนึงก่อนแต่พอเที่ยงคืนปุ๊บมันก็เข้ามาตัวบ้านเข้าพอเช้ามาก็คือเต็มข้างล่างนี้แล้วก็ไม่อยู่ไม่ได้แล้ว
เขื่อนมันแตกตอนนี้แหละเราก็ยกข้าวของไม่ทันของเราก็เสียหายเยอะชั้นล่างเครื่องใช้ไฟฟ้าอะไรไปหมดเลยข้างบนนี้ก็เกือบไม่รอด
น้ำมาวันที่24เร็วมากเก็บกันไม่ทัน
ก็มาท่วมสนามหญ้าเนี่ยเต็มไปหมดเราก็คิดว่าคงไม่ท่วมพื้นบ้านแต่พอตื่นขึ้นเช้ามาดูอีกทีก็จะท่วมสูงขึ้นจนกระทั่งมาถึงประมาณนี้
This was because it was challenging for people to determine the risk probabilities given the conflicting information coming from different sources, and the content of the information itself, which often was not of much practical value. For example, households could have benefited more from information about where the flood had reached and how long it might take to reach their neighborhood. They could have benefited more from information about the expected water depth to better decide whether to move cars out of the area, whether to move belongings to higher grounds, or even how higher things should be moved. People could better judge whether it is worth the time, the efforts, and the money to build barriers to prevent water from coming into the house. When the water depth turned out to be much higher than anticipated, even if preventive measures were undertaken, it was not possible to avoid the losses. So people who invested in preventive measures might turn out to be people who incurred greater economic losses. Unlike the tsunami, hurricanes, or typhoons, the 2011 flood was an event that unfolded slowly over a period of 4 months. It affected both rural and urban areas in a time when most people had access to multiple sources of information, when people were well connected by the internet, when people had smartphones and social media. We hope that our findings can provide a clearer picture of the damages and the composition of the damages at the household level. We also hope that we will be able to illustrate that it wasn't so much the availability of information, but the screening and assessing of risk probabilities and severity in terms of how fast, how high, and how long the flood would last that can assist households in taking precautionary and coping measures that will reduce their economic losses. To policymakers, we hope that our estimates of household economic losses can provide some indication of the economic losses that can be avoided if preventive measures were effective. Finally, it is our expectation that our findings on the role of information can contribute to the design of warning systems that people can make sense of to ensure that the information provided can be of greater practical value.